Welcome to Everyday Tarot, your daily dive into the divine wisdom of the tarot. I'm your host, Camille A. Saunders, and today I'll be talking about full moon spreads. Whether you're a seasoned tarot reader or just starting to explore, this podcast offers daily insights, intuitive messages, and practical advice drawn from the cards. Each episode is designed to help you connect with your inner wisdom, find clarity in your decisions, and tap into the energy of the universe. Tune in every day, Monday through Friday, for fresh perspectives and empowering guidance from the tarot as interpreted by me. The best way to support the podcast right now is to listen daily, rate, review, and to follow or subscribe in your chosen podcast app. The next best way is to check out my Patreon at patreon.com/everydaytarot. You can always go to my website, camilleasaunders.com/everydaytarot for all the latest information related to the podcast and to find images of the cards I pull in each episode. If you're local to the greater Puget Sound area, I would love to see you at my Let's Talk Tarot meetup group events where we all bring some of our favorite decks and play around with tarot and oracle decks together. Our next meetup is on April 6th, and you can check out more details at the meetup link in the show notes. All right, so we're into season 5 of the podcast. Can you believe it? In this season, I'll be talking all about common tarot spreads. So I'll go through 13 different tarot spreads, one per episode, and walk you through an example of what it looks like to do them. If you haven't listened to my other seasons yet, go ahead and check those out. In the first season, I talked tarot basics. In seasons 2 and 3, I went through the major arcana and the 4 suits, one per episode. And in season 4, I talked all about tarot in pop culture and examined representations of tarot in video games, TV shows, movies, and more. So like I said, today I'll be talking about full moon spreads. And last night, at least as I'm recording this, was a full moon. I believe it was a blood moon and an eclipse. So sort of an intense moon, but full moon spread. So often when it's a full moon, you'll find full moon spreads. If you follow any like astrology or tarot or witchy folks online, people will post them sometimes. So a friend actually sent me this one, and it's from Tamed Wild. And it is a 6-card spread. I will go ahead and put the image for the spread in on my website, and then I will show you kind of the 6 cards that I pulled. And so again, a full moon spread, obviously it's like timing based, so it's a spread you would do on or around the full moon. It can kind of work like a month ahead spread, which I'll be talking about in a later episode, where you can kind of get certain details about, what to expect, what's happening on this full moon. Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and I will share kind of all the 6 questions of the 6 cards in the spread, and then I will go through an example of the spread that I pulled for myself and sort of some of my loose interpretations of just kind of what I think this means. So in this one, like I said, there's 6 cards. And so the questions are: what is being illuminated? What have I outgrown? What should I release? What should I embrace? How can I align with my highest self? And what will come to fruition? And there's a little bit of extra explanation for each of the questions, but that is kind of the spread. And again, like I'll have the visual on my website, but I will talk through how you lay out the cards. So it's like one card in the middle, then you put the second card on the left of that card horizontally. The third card goes on the right of the first card horizontally. The fourth card is sort of at an angle below the second one. The fifth card is vertically below the first, and then the sixth card is at an angle below the third one. So it's sort of like if we were to go around in a circle, starting at the top, like on a clock, it would be 1, 3, 6, 5, 4, 2. And again, like it's sort of dependent on the questions. You can find spreads like this. You can Google them. You sometimes, again, like people will create their own spreads and post them. So like I said, this is from Tamed Wild, and they created a PDF for it. And again, like I said, my friend was doing this one last night, and showed her cards to me. And so I was like, oh, I want to do that. It was a full moon last night for me as I'm recording this. And so I went ahead and pulled cards as well. Okay, so that's the 6 cards, the 6 questions, and then I'll get into the cards that I pulled and just kind of some of the meanings that I gleaned from it. So in last episode, I talked about tarot journaling, which is sort of like recording or writing down the cards that you pull with a question. So, like in this case, because it was a PDF, I just decided that I was going to, number one, write down the question. So, what is being illuminated? What is being revealed? And then pull the card. So, how I generally do it is I lay out all the cards sort of face down so you can't see what they are in the spread design. And then I go through, I sort of ask the question, what is being illuminated? What truth is being revealed? And then I flip over the first card. So what I flipped over the first time was the Page of Daggers reversed. And in this deck, daggers are sword equivalents. So what I got from this, like what's being illuminated, what truth is being revealed, I sort of pulled away from that manifestation, some plans. Don't be afraid if you aren't a master of your craft yet, and let go of all fears of what people think of you. And again, like sometimes the questions, it's not super obvious exactly how the card relates at first, or it's a reversal. And in this deck, like reversals don't have explicit definitions like written out in the tarot deck guidebook. So this was sort of just me trying to interpret. And again, this is sort of how spreads work. You get to practice interpreting for yourself, like what you think it means. Okay, so that was the first one. And again, if you want to see all the cards that I pulled and the tarot spread, you can go to my website, CamilleSaunders.com/everydaytarot to check those out. Okay, so the second question was, what have I outgrown? A habit, mindset, or situation that no longer serves you? And I pulled the 9 of cactus, and cactuses in this deck are like pentacles, coins, spirals. And so, what I gleaned from that was that I needed to step into my power, maybe not feeling guilty or shy about treating myself or indulging in positive moments. Again, cactuses like pentacles are like the earth, like the grounded sign. So I was sort of interpreting like somatic stuff in my body, right? Like self-care. Again, we think of sort of like how Taurus astrologically gets represented, like taking care of self, sometimes like luxurious items or treating yourself and just wanting to be treated really well. And then what else? Enjoy some self-care and then crush some more goals. And don't slack off because there's still more to achieve. So again, I was sort of saying like, okay, maybe I'm outgrowing this guilt or being shy about treating myself, that it's not just that I can do self-care or I can do work, but finding a balance, and that, treat yourself, right? Like indulge in some fun things, celebrate, but also like don't use that as an excuse to slack off. All right. So for the third question, it said, what should I release? Something to let go of or cleanse from your life. And for that one, I pulled the 6 of chilies. And in this deck, chilies are like wands energy, so that fiery energy. This one was a little bit harder for me to like glean from. So I said being afraid to accept praise and being proud of what you accomplished. So like releasing maybe fear around accepting, again, like praise or celebration, and releasing the idea that like it's bad to be proud of your accomplishments or prideful or that type of thing, and just really sort of, right, releasing this idea that that is somehow wrong. All right, for question 4, it says, what should I embrace? A new energy or opportunity to welcome in. And for this one, I pulled the Hanged Man, and it was a little bit hard for me because, so this card in the spread is at an angle, so I wasn't quite sure like if it was upright or reversed, to be honest, when I pulled it. So I went with the upright definition and then just sort of, thought about if maybe the reversal made sense. So I said, I should be embracing new perspectives, reflecting on where I am, letting go of the past. What can you do to pass the time to help you get unstuck? Surrendering, waiting to be released from this like stuck position. And I wrote down on this particular card for the major arcana cards in this deck, there are some correspondences. So the planetary correspondence is Neptune. The like sign correspondence was water, and then the chakra correspondence was third eye. So there was also this sort of like manifestation or like spiritual energy that I think of with the third eye with this one. So maybe also embracing spirituality, connection to the universe, that kind of thing. All right. And then for question 5, it says, how can I align with my highest self? Guidance for personal growth. In this one, I pulled the Queen of Cactus. And again, the cactuses are like pentacles. So this would be like, for example, like the Queen of Pentacles. And again, this is a very, also related to the third eye. Also, right, pentacles. So that earth grounded energy. Again, like the material world, that kind of thing. So from this, I gleaned that I should be connecting with my third eye, focusing on this identity of provider, teacher, counselor, mother of all. It's the parental card. So helping you feel secure and safe during familial or financial insecurity. It radiates abundance, altruism, and compassion, even in times of difficulty. This card helps nurture you when you need maternal support in your life, and to meditate on her energy when you aspire to have healthy and established domestic responsibilities. So again, sort of things in the material world, right? Perhaps things in your home. So it sounds like for me, aligning with my highest self is sort of like this maternal energy, this sort of domestic stuff, relationships, nurturing, safety, and that kind of thing. And then for the last question, it says, what will come to fruition? The result of your efforts or the seeds that you've planted? And for these last two, I had the sort of more notes come up from it. So sort of as I was getting to the end of the spread, like more things were becoming clear. And so I pulled these 7 of daggers. And again, daggers in this deck are like swords. So this one, again, so 7 of Swords is often sort of about like deception or trickery. So I was trying to understand like what will come to fruition. Like what have I been doing that's related to trickery or deception? So I sort of gleaned from that, like this card, you're able to get what you want through planning. Make sure you're not presenting a false facade to the world. If I make a choice to live authentically, I can enjoy a fulfilling life with more intimate relationships. There was this question asked in the deck of, are you a victim of betrayal by others or have you betrayed yourself? Which really made me think of like boundaries and making sure that you were upholding your own boundaries or your own time or your own schedules or your own commitments and not sort of maybe falling into excuses or blaming others for overstepping those boundaries instead of trying to hold them up yourself. And then it says, keep your eyes wide open, and that this card is about the master of disguise. So for me, this was sort of what was coming to light was that, okay, maybe there are aspects in my life where I'm not being totally honest or truthful, or I'm fearful of, right, what someone might think or say, or how something's going to be like impact other people, which can be important, but also that I need to kind of, for myself, hold my own boundaries, tell people things when they are bothering me or when I have a hard time like listening to them or when I'm confronted with ideas or situations where I feel where I don't like feel like things are aligned or that things are challenging, and to actually, right, like tell people I don't like that, or tell people, can we talk about something else, or can we take a pause on this conversation, instead of maybe just pretending that everything is fine, right? Maybe this is the way that like this deception has been showing up for me. All right, so that is the 6 cards and sort of my personal interpretation of that. Again, if you want to go to my website, CamilleSaunders.com/everyday tarot, you can see the actual cards I pulled, the images, and you can find that PDF of how to do the tarot spread on your own. And again, I did not make up this tarot spread. This is from Tamed Wild. I think that's it. It's a very small logo at the bottom, so I'll see if I can link to maybe their website or something also on my website in case you want to follow them or find more information on there. So yeah, this is like an example of how to do a full moon spread. Again, full moons come around every 28 days, so you get a lot of opportunities to do them, and they can sort of be another way to do like a month ahead spread or sort of a focused spread on what you're sort of taking in or focusing on right now. And links for the tarot decks will always be in the show notes on my website if you'd like to look at them or purchase them. I was reading from the Desert Illuminations Tarot deck by Lindsay D. Williams. And thanks again for joining me today on Everyday Tarot. Just a reminder, the podcast comes out daily, Monday through Friday for all of 2025. All right, see you soon. Bye-bye.